Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, talkradio.nyc, and streaming live on facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire. If that is too long a name to remember, you can always go to Secrets of the Sire, SIRE.com, and we are streaming live right on the homepage there. So there's no excuse. You can get us any which way you want to, every which way you want to. I am your host, Michael Dolce. As always, I am joined by Hassan, the Lord of the Radio Godwin, with his badass picture, which I will now get rid of.
Yeah,
and there he is. Woohoo!
Why am I not real?
Well, now you're real now.
No, okay.
I mean, you're real now.
No, put the picture back.
the pictures. Look, the picture's pretty badass. You do a nice job there.
Yes, it's a wonderful picture. I like it myself.
I think so.
The whole reason I'm using it.
I think so, too. We have got a great show for you tonight.
Do we?
It took a little bit of time for people to kind of grasp what we were trying to do. But ultimately, I think they're getting it now. We're doing our final
we care
four.
what the people think, though?
No, we do that. We're self-indulgent.
Okay.
We do this for us.
Right.
And only us.
It's a little bit of an ego boost when the people like us, though.
It helps. I mean, it definitely helps.
We don't really care.
There's no question. But no, we have our comic book movie sequel bracket.
Yes.
We have narrowed it down to a final four, and the final four is really exciting. We've got Spider-Man taking on Dark Knight, which you don't love, but that's okay. So Spider-Man 2, Dark Knight. And then we have the surprise, which was Guardians 2. I thought was a surprise. Taking on Winter Soldier. People have been chatting up the Twitter lines. Go to twitter.com/
Guardian should take it.
Michael_Dolce. Check out the Twitter feed. Also, Talk Radio NYC is running their own poll right now. We're running it for an hour, so go vote. We're gonna tabulate everything as we've been doing. If you want to catch anything how we got here, because you can see on the screen we have a really great bracket designed by me.
How did I get here?
Go check out our past episodes on soundcloud.com/Secrets of the Sire. Go to iTunes, look up Secrets of the Sire, SIRE, or look up my last name.
What's the name of the
Dolce, DOLCE. Check out iHeartRadio, search Secrets of the Sire.
Wait, what's that name again?
Secrets
I don't think
of
we're saying it
the
enough.
Sire. And as always, we're here on talkradio.nyc. So welcome one and welcome all. But we're going to start today, before we get into the Final Four. I know we want to talk about the Final Four, but there was a movie that came out.
Yes.
Right in our avenue, right in our wheelhouse, so to speak.
Yes.
Which is Ready Player One. It's the Spielberg vehicle, because he's really needs a new vehicle.
It's the Spielberg.
Yeah, the Spiegel.
Yes.
The Spiegel. The Bergable.
Okay.
Bergable. I don't think there's any way to say it.
Yeah, I abandoned that joke about 5 minutes ago.
We're gonna go behind the curtain a little bit before we get into the brackets.
Do you have a behind the curtain? For,
yeah. We're gonna talk about our pre-show meeting, and our pre-show meeting was basically us kind of saying like, how much do we talk about this movie? It was number one at the box office.
It was.
So it did well financially, but opening weekend, as we've talked about, doesn't really mean as much, decent. Right?
A lot of them do. Well. It doesn't and it does, because
like if you flop, then it's really bad. But if you do well, it doesn't necessarily mean your movie did extremely well.
Right, but I mean, since there's always an inevitable drop off after the first weekend.
Yeah.
If it's going to do well at all, it's going to do well on that first weekend.
Yeah, and
there are a couple of movies now that have kind of staying power. Like I forget what their names are though.
Yeah.
No. Yes, Black Panther, but I'm talking about like minor
Black
movies.
Panther
like
is an excellent
like
choice.
the Greatest Show on Earth, whatever, the Hugh Jackman movie
vehicle
that they kept panning.
Yeah,
actually had lasted long enough to turn a profit.
Okay,
so there are movies that actually have legs, and Hollywood's starting to rediscover that. It's like,
it's I agree with that. I agree, and this one is not going to have a lot of competition for at least 3 more weeks. So it could.
It could do some pretty serious damage.
So, I mean, I just threw it out there to a lot of folks. What did you got? Did it live up to the hype? Did it not? Was it over nostalgic? Was it under nostalgic? Were you seeped in the nostalgia, or were you actually, all about it? or did it matter? I mean, that's another good question. Did it even matter?
Yeah, it didn't. The nostalgia didn't really matter to me.
Yeah.
It was good. I understood all the references it made. I was like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. We've been so overwhelmed with meta and nostalgia in the last, I don't know, 2 years?
Yeah.
That it being the culmination of the nostalgia bubble.
It was like a mirror, right? Like we're watching. This is what I kept thinking when I saw it. We're watching what's happening today. Like this is exactly what's happening, and it's like we are so seeped in. It's not even just nostalgia
avatars,
anymore.
people using avatars. It's
No,
more
no,
of
no,
it's more of a 3-dimensional kind of version.
It's not even that. I'm saying go and even deeper. So first of all, I thought the movie was entertaining. And it was, and you don't have to seep very deep into it because clearly it's not a deep movie. I mean, there's a lot of action, there's a lot of scenes, no spoilers, well, potential spoilers.
Yeah, spoiler
where it can be a problem
for Sam.
But I was actually looking at it more from this is exactly what's happening today and what will be happening in the future. We just love this stuff of the past. Like, is there going to be any more innovators? Like, this is now considered innovation to create a movie
to creatively
full of
make
things
a movie
that
about
everyone
things
already
that
is comfortable with.
Well, not really. I mean, like, a lot of that stuff is from the 80s. It's all made for our generation.
Yeah.
You know, it's
The
really
young
not made
generation.
for younger people.
Oh,
Because a lot of people don't really freaking
don't-
know about who Marty McFly is, and I mean, they
You don't
know
think
about
so?
him. They don't care. It doesn't affect them the same way.
We have like millennial folks in
Yeah,
here. What do you think?
I see
Did
'em.
you get the references?
I didn't see
You didn't see you haven't seen Back to the Future? Oh my
Ding.
god. I stand
Ding.
corrected. Show over. That's it. It was a great show. We had a great time here tonight.
You knew the reference, though, right? Yeah.
Did
but
you know
didn't see
most of the references?
from things that were
This is our intern tomorrow, by the way.
things that were more millennial.
Things that were
things that were more millennial? Like what?
So like Atari just flew right over your head then.
No, I knew that.
You knew Atari because they have the reissue. Oh, which one?
Overwatch. They were in it for like 3 seconds.
Yeah, but I got that.
Okay.
If you can't hear her, she says, "Yeah, but I got that."
Yeah, all right.
got
So
that.
you would watch a 2.5-hour movie and got 3 seconds of it. It's like, hey,
Tracer, that was my moment.
which one?
Tracer.
Oh, okay. All right.
I liked Battletoads. Did you catch the Battletoad
Yeah, I
in
saw
there?
the Battletoads.
Battletoad was pretty cool because that's
you know what?
that's
I'm gonna
under
have
the
to say the
radar.
Gundam thing was
Gundam was pretty good.
Was pretty
Gundam
darn
was
good.
pretty good. I mean, that's the thing. Like, we're sitting here going, like, it was a good movie. Look, it was a solid movie. I'm not going to say it wasn't.
It doesn't break any new ground.
No,
It's really wonderful,
No.
really great visuals, really great
really
adventure.
a reflection on
but
us
it's
right now.
it's another like monomyth. The one kid who's smarter than everybody
That's okay,
else.
though. There's nothing wrong with
I'm not
that.
saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm saying it didn't break any new ground.
What would break new ground besides, like, I mean, let's say, can a monomyth story break new ground for you?
Sure.
For you.
Yeah.
How would that work?
Kill off the myth.
So like
The
just
middle
kill,
of the myth.
So like the Sean Bean effect. You just wipe him out, right?
Yeah,
You know.
Sean Bean him right in the middle of the film, and then
That's gimmicky.
have his sidekick step up and actually be the hero. That would be
okay.
subversive. Oh,
Okay.
Like Ryan Johnson.
Oh. just
Join
an
me.
FYI, Star Wars
Join me
Last
on the
Jedi
dark
is
side.
still bad.
Yes, it's still a terrible movie.
Still a bad movie.
But I'm not saying anything was bad about it. It was just,
No, it was-
once you know it, once you know the beats, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, that's gonna happen, and then they're gonna do that.
But
and
you
then
know
the
what,
guy's
though?
gonna trip on that nail.
When
and then
they
he's gonna
hit
have
the
a little
beats-
cotton candy on the other side.
when they hit the beats well, there's something satisfying about that. I think like everything about that. Again, you didn't have to think too deep into this movie to enjoy it.
well, okay, here's
In fact, I don't think you were supposed to.
the movie itself was beautiful. It was beautifully made, and the actors were fantastic. Mm-hmm. The story wasn't original. The story was so painfully unoriginal
Okay.
that you're just like, well, this is really pretty.
Yeah.
You know, it's not really a comment on our time. It's not a comment. It's not a dystopian cautionary tale. It wasn't really saying that this future was bad.
Yeah.
It didn't really kind
Yeah.
of crack that egg open. In fact, you know, the protagonist and antagonist were striving to win the future.
Yeah.
You know, so it doesn't that it doesn't mean that the world has to be saved or the world has to be fixed. Everybody's just kind of going along with the flow. So there are no stakes. There was no urgency towards stopping whatever cataclysm was happening or
I never
causing
got the urgency in a way.
There was no urgency.
In a way, right? Because it's all made up at the end. It's like Bitcoin. It's like it doesn't exist.
Well,
it's
that's
not
what I'm
real
saying.
money.
There were no stakes to
Right.
it. It was just really pretty. It was
They
just
were-
a
you know what?
party.
No, but you know what? You did get the sense that to the characters there was real stakes, but I didn't feel them.
When they did finally do the one kind of heinous thing,
Yeah,
that was so left field
yeah,
because of the way the rest of the movie was.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
and the
I
fact
agree with
that
that. I agree
the
with
fact
that.
they just got past it just like that. He was like, "Oh darn! All
I
right."
agree with that as well too. And
It was like
I'm trying not to do
Luke who
any-
lost his aunt and uncle. Like, oh,
Yeah.
guess I'm going Alderaan. Oh
Like,
well.
I've been looking for an excuse to get out.
Yeah.
So
I didn't want to do it this way,
thank
but
you,
look.
Jawas
Yeah.
/ Stormtroopers. Betty Rose Rosario chimed in on Facebook. I really enjoyed it for several reasons. The nostalgia
Nobody
is
cares.
one, obviously.
I'm kidding.
He was a past guest. We like
I'm
Benny.
kidding.
But just the unique blend of CG with the actors was done well, and my favorite part was the entire race sequence because there was no score, during which at first it was odd, but ended up being truly enjoyable. You know,
because there's no one, like, and this is not a spoiler. No one wins that race,
Right.
So
Right.
they didn't even bother to score it. 'Cause they're
Right.
like, you're not going to win.
Right.
So just try your best.
But I like what he just said there, the unique blend of CG with the actors. I actually do agree with that because halfway through the movie, at one point, I said to my dad, and because my dad and I go watch these movies together, and I said, it's Miles Teller's, right? That's his name?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like, Miles Teller just earned the easiest paycheck. He just has to stand on a treadmill for, like, the
Yeah.
entire movie.
Yeah, well, he did the motion capture though. So
Did he do the motion
all that
capture?
stuff? I suspect all that stuff
Yeah.
he had to carry through. So
Yeah.
look, it was really pretty. It was really pretty. I'm not saying anything negative about it.
Is this a win for Spielberg?
I would say so. Why would it not be? It's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's just and then the movies that we watch today, they're always these stakes. We're always watching for some kind of life-changing or life-affirming circumstance to happen.
Yeah.
There always is going to be some kind of cataclysmic thing that goes on.
Yeah.
And then this movie was just like, hey, what if you win this race and then you could have this key and then you could have all these goodies inside and you're watching and then no spoiler. People go forward until someone wins the race.
Yeah.
And they get the key, and you get all the goodies inside.
Yeah.
And then the credits roll.
All right. Chime in.
Good movie,
Call
though,
in.
if you
We've
like it.
had callers last week. We were very excited about that.
Don't
We
call
always like callers.
We don't- I don't like
877-480-4120 unless you're listening to us on the podcast, in which case call in anyway. The radio
Yes.
the radio station's
Yes.
still active. There's
There'll be
probably
someone
a
else
show
here.
going on. We'll take a little break from Ready Player One unless we get some outstanding commentary on it. And we will bring back our bracket. Final four. Dark Knight versus Spider-Man 2. Winter Soldier versus Guardians 2 when we come back.
Not going to go the way you think.
Joined by my esteemed colleague and co-host, Lord of the Radio.
Lord of the Radio.
Lord of the Radio.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Do you have to apply? Do you have to go to college for that? Is there some sort of classes?
I could tell you how to become the Lord of the Radio, but then you'd become Lord of the Radio, and I wouldn't be Lord of the Radio
This is
anymore.
very true.
No such thing as co-lord.
No, it doesn't work that way.
It's,
Secrets of the Sire.
welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on talkradio.nyc live. And then it goes sent into the ether of the internet as a YouTube video,
don't
as a
get meta.
Facebook Live video. If you're watching the Facebook Live video right now, or you're watching the YouTube video after the fact, you saw the mainstream, which is coming out. It's actually debuting this weekend at C2E2. I will be out there with the entire creative team. It's about an interdimensional police force that polices alternate realities.
But what is it exactly?
It is a comic book.
It is a comic
Yeah, a
book.
new comic book. I got the cover showing on the video right
Yeah,
now.
I know, but you got
It is a comic
some
book.
people are thick.
It's you can go into your local comic book store, give them the order codes, or just tell them about the series. It's published by Zenoscope.
Really?
So you can go check that out. Talent Call was Talent Call's big return to comics. I haven't made enough big deal about that, but that is a pretty big deal. So go check it out, and please support me because I'm Poe. All right, it is bracket time, baby. This has been very exciting. We started with a field of 32. We had Pat Shandon.
How many weeks ago did we start with the field of 32?
It was a while ago.
Many weeks.
It was a long time ago,
It was like
and we
2
broke
weeks.
it down. We had things like Logan versus Guardians 2. We had Spider-Man 2 versus Hellboy 2. We had Thor Ragnarok versus Superman 2. Winter Soldier versus Thor Dark World, which got in there somehow.
I won all those, by the way.
We really did. And last week we narrowed it down, and the week before we got it all down to 4. And the 4 that we're doing right now, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, taking on Winter Soldier. And then this one's going to be interesting. Spider-Man 2 taking on The Dark Knight. Now, these are both tremendous matchups. Very excited about it. The Dark Knight itself is considered one of the best. The bracket itself, by the way, it took a while to kind of like gain some steam online because I guess people, couldn't understand the genius that we were unfolding. But then once they did, they're like, oh, wait a minute, these guys are really
These guys are unfolding
smart,
genius.
and they're doing amazing
How
things.
do you even fold genius? Let alone unfold it.
And we've had so many people, chiming in because of this now. Johnny Wellens, who has been a past guest on the show, still upset that Guardians 2 beat Logan.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
that was kind of a battle.
Soda Pop Curtis, I don't see the debate. Dark Knight is a classic. Add in
course.
Ledger's last movie and performance, let alone the movie itself. What comic movie comes close? None in the final 4. Winter
Wait a
Soldier
minute.
might give it an argument.
Which of those 2 movies made more money? The Dark Knight or Spider-Man 2?
I think Spider-Man 2 made the more money, right?
Of course.
I think so, yeah.
So that statement's a little false then.
Casey, who actually helped us settle the debate by being a caller last week, Casey
Yeah.
Strauss,
Yes, he did.
said, Logan's not a sequel, my dude. Never should have been made in the bracket. But had he been listening to all 4 weeks,
Yeah.
we debated what was considered a sequel. So we've actually vetted
Technically,
this.
Logan is a sequel, though.
Exactly. We based it on the fact that it was a universe.
But we said it was a bad sequel. That's almost the reason it lost.
It lost because it wasn't
Because
right.
Guardians was a
2
better-
is a true sequel
Yes.
in the sense that it does pick up immediately
I do
after
remember that.
versus where it exists in the world. But it's not a reboot. Logan's not a reboot or an Elseworlds or whatever. I mean, you
Nope.
might consider it an Elseworlds, but doesn't matter. It's part of the universe.
Elseworldsy.
It's all in there. It's all in there. So we are down. We're down to the final 4. We've got some Twitter polls. If you go to Talk Radio NYC right now, if you're listening live, again, if you're listening on the podcast, do it anyway.
Do what we tell you.
But you won't be able to vote. You can vote right now. We're gonna keep those votes and we're gonna count those votes in our final tally.
Okay.
We had our own poll that ran. We got amazing amount of feedback on it. What would you let me ask you a couple different questions and then you zero
Sure.
in on the one that you want to do.
You go ahead.
Is there a particular matchup you want to start with, and or do you want to hear what the...
The 2 matchups are Spider-Man 2 and The Dark Knight versus Winter Soldier and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
Correct?
Yes.
Those are the 2 matchups.
Guardians 2, Winter Soldier, Dark Knight, Spider-Man 2.
Let's leave Dark Knight and Spider-Man 2 for last because that's going to be
Okay.
That's gonna
well,
get-
it's not
that's
last,
gonna be
because
where
again,
it's-
we're going to come up with a winner.
I
So
know,
we're
but
gonna-
that's going to be second. We're gonna discuss
Yeah.
that separate. We'll crack that egg open separately
Guardians
because that's
2
going to be
versus
ugly.
Winter Soldier. Now, here's the funny thing. Let me ask you a question before we even get into that. Do you feel this is the right list, the right Final 4? Like if you
In
could
what
pick a
context?
Final 4 right now, just randomly out of everything we've done to this point,
best of
yeah,
sequels.
would these be the Final 4?
They would be in my top 5 for the Final Four.
Yeah.
Or my top 7.
Like Johnny Wellens is like, I don't understand why Guardians 2 is in. I would have put X2. I agree with him.
X2.
I agree with him on that.
He wasn't paying attention. X2 tried, it lost.
Not that it's going to influence the outcome, but I can definitely say I don't get the hype about Winter Soldier. I like it. I think it's solid, but I'm sitting there going, Guardians 2 especially, I don't get being in the top 4. So
Really?
personally, to me, part of me looked at this list thinking to myself, man, this isn't my top 4. But that's what I wrote to Soda Pop Curtis because he kept talking about Dark Knight. Dark Knight's an easy win. However, you go to our poll, which I won't reveal the results. No, there's no easy win
There's no
here.
such
So
thing
that's
as
the
an
beauty
easy
of
win.
this, right?
Right.
Is that it's subjective, and it's not just what I think. It's not just what you think.
Yeah.
It's
Mostly
not,
what I
it's
think, though.
basically what we all kind of, as a group, kind of done. So
Right.
again,
But mostly me.
we got time. Chime in on the comments. If you're on the Facebook feed, vote on the poll because we will definitely count it. But this
Yeah.
is the time to chime in because we're going to collectively come to an understanding here.
Okay.
Guardians 2 versus Winter Soldier.
Hmm.
Are you just leaning Winter Soldier?
See, that's very tough because I really like both of them. I would have to say, okay, are we going to talk better movie or are we going to talk better sequel?
Let's talk both.
Which one would you want to talk about first, though?
I think in terms of better sequel, I definitely think Guardians 2.
Okay, so are we talking better sequel first?
Right now,
We'll
yes.
start with better sequel.
Better sequel, Guardians 2. Because okay, yes and no, actually, now that I think about it, because Winter Soldier is a direct...
Winter Soldier is technically a direct sequel to The Avengers. The Avengers was technically a direct sequel to
Captain America. Yeah.
So that's kind of tough.
It's a sequel and a sequel. But that's okay. That's okay. You know, there's
No, it
there's
is
nothing that
okay.
says that it can't be a sequel of a sequel, but a copy of a copy.
Because Logan wasn't a direct sequel; it was a third sequel. So,
Yeah.
and we let it in. So, better sequel. Better sequel. No, I would have to say Guardians is a better sequel.
It is, right?
It's a better sequel.
But I
than
think
The Winter Soldier.
I don't know, and I can't even use this excuse. You know,
I can
that's the
watch
beauty of
Guardians
this, right?
back to back. If I went from Captain America 1 to Winter Soldier,
Yeah.
I'd be missing a huge chunk of information
Yeah.
in the middle. So I can, if you're going to talk about a better direct sequel,
Yeah.
I'd have to say Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Oh no! Is that really? Are we really going to go there? Is that it? I mean, oh my gosh, it's over. No, it's not over. It's not over. I'm just
No,
joking
I don't
with you.
know what you're talking about. Right?
No,
Did
I'm
you
just saying
have a
I'm
revelation?
just saying we were leaning toward Guardians right now as the better.
Well,
sequel.
Guardians is I didn't say it was a better movie. If we're talking about if we're gonna parse it, it's a better sequel.
Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah.
I feel like this should...
Movie wise though, no.
No, it's not. Right.
No.
What are the? Let's go pro con list. Pro list for Winter Soldier.
Pro list for Winter Soldier. It's
It's got more twists and turns.
here's okay. You'd have to look at it the way I would look at it.
Yeah.
Right. You start out with the source material for Captain America.
Uh-huh.
Starts out in the 40s. Goes all the way to Super Soldier treatment, all the way up to him getting frozen. Right. The Captain America movie was not supposed to be good. Everybody was talking about it. It was like, go see Captain America.
I loved Captain America.
Of course, but everybody before they saw
Yeah.
it was
Oh
like,
yeah. Well, because they had visions of that '90s
like,
movie
Captain
in their head.
America is gonna be silly. And Chris Evans, who's that? You know, watch Captain America. Everybody comes out. Oh my God, that was. What do we do now?
There
That
was
was
a-
a great movie, right? So that leads up to eventually to Avengers.
Yeah.
Avengers, serious movie.
Yeah.
Right. The Avengers is the culmination of the Iron Man movies of all
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Phase
sure,
1.
sure,
Right?
yeah.
So okay, you end it with a big fight book, right? You got the Avengers all together. The aliens literally fall from the sky. They
Yeah,
all
yeah,
have to fight them. Not too deep, right? But it was pulled off masterfully. And I don't even like Joss Whedon, so for me to say that is pretty substantial.
I agree.
Right? So now you got a sequel to it. Now you have Captain America 2, The Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Right? So everybody's kind of like on eggshells, like, if they're going to mess it up, this is where you're going to mess it up. Oh, wait, Bucky's... Like, people who haven't read the comics, Bucky's alive.
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Right.
Oh, he's this, like, Russian agent. He's going to fight the Russian version of Captain America. This is going to be terrible. You watch that movie, and you realize that they are sewing
I think that was
threads.
exactly how the pitch meeting went when they originally pitched the
Yes,
story.
that's what I was
Yeah.
there. I was
Yeah.
there. They kicked me out because I wasn't supposed
Yeah.
to be there, but I was there. You watch that movie and then you realize it's sewing threads for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's really starting to get serious, and the stakes are, again, like we were talking about Ready Player One, the stakes were pretty high.
Yeah.
You know? And it was a solid film. It showcased Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
It solidified him as a genuine hero.
Mm-hmm.
It was because Captain America wasn't a big moneymaker, the first one.
Sure.
The big moneymaker up to then was Iron Man.
Yeah. Avengers was.
Well, yeah, but Iron Man was the focal
Okay.
point to go into that. He was the lead moneymaker
Uh-huh.
into it. He was the lead franchise. after Winter Soldier, Iron Man was no longer, he was
Yeah.
no longer the top
Sure.
earner, and it solidified Steve Rogers as a modern hero.
Yeah.
And it was really good. It was a really solid movie. I would put it on par with The Dark Knight myself personally.
So Brian Everham chimed in and said Winter Soldier, easy. We've gotten a lot of votes for Winter Soldier. In the poll, Winter Soldier does exceed the amount of votes that Guardians 2 gets.
Yeah, I figured.
I just don't even know how Guardians 2 made it in here either, to be honest
Guardians
with you.
2 is a great movie.
I don't think it's a great movie.
Sam liked
you
it.
would
He's the
categorize
reason-
would you really
he's
categorize
the
it as
reason we put
great,
it.
though? I wouldn't do great.
I would say it's a great movie. It's a great movie. Okay, it depends on what you mean by greatness.
Yeah.
Because it's a second strike of lightning.
Let me ask you a question. You did
Because that
this.
shouldn't really have been a good movie.
You just said this, actually. Is it great when you watch it back-to-back with Part 1?
I think so. I enjoy it.
That's where I think the flaw comes in. So I agree with you. It's it's the better quote-unquote sequel because it's technically Part 2 of a story. But I wouldn't categorize it as a better movie than Winter Soldier, even though, again, I don't get the hype around Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier was just very interesting, but
You
it
gotta
wasn't...
watch it again.
I'm going to have to. I'm going to
you gotta
have
watch
to.
it again.
Maybe I should have before this went on. But I think we're going to unanimously put Winter Soldier ahead for
Yeah,
the next
we'll do
round,
that.
right?
We'll
I
do
think
that.
it was
That's a
pretty...
win.
The writing was on the wall.
Right. Yes. Or in the keyboard.
We killed a segment. When we come back, this one's going to be a little more tough. Spider-Man 2 taking on The Dark Knight. We're going to keep it superficial.
Just a brass tacks
We are
of the
very
situation.
superficial people
Yes.
in general, so
Well.
we're going to stick to... Well, I'm a very superficial person.
Yeah, I'm all right.
I'm a book by the cover kind of
I'm a
person.
great guy. I'm not superficial at all.
Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. We have a lot of fun here every week talking comics, movies, TV, pop culture. Every Wednesday night, talkradio.nyc. We are debating our last Final Four. We pushed Winter Soldier into the finals, which again, I agree. It really wasn't much of a challenge, I think.
No,
I think I think it was destined to be there.
It was a challenge. Though. It fought. It held its own.
Oh, I agree.
Got a couple of good swings in.
But that's the
Before it
question
went
now.
down.
Is it going to be Winter Soldier versus Dark Knight, or is it going to be Winter Soldier taking on Spider-Man 2? That is really the question here. So let me take it to the poll. And our poll had Spider-Man 2 and Dark Knight actually receiving the same amount of votes. If you're on the Talk Radio website right now on Twitter, at Talk Radio NYC, there is an equal amount of votes for all four movies. So all four movies have the same amount of votes going on. So again, I told you I got a message from...
Well, that means it's up to us. We have to break this down. We're not going to get any help from the outside people.
I mean, again...
Can't phone a friend.
Soda Pop Curtis is like, there's no competition. I mean, he basically said that.
He's biased, though.
Johnny Wellens, I'm torn between Dark Knight and Winter Soldier. So, I mean, is Dark Knight just the quintessential... Here's the thing, right? It's such a different... So, the cool thing about this matchup is, right? Let's take it from this point of view. This is both pre-Marvel Cinematic Universe, right?
Right.
This is pre-Netflix.
Yes.
This is pre-everything.
Pre-everything.
Spider-Man 2 changed everything when it came out. It really
it
did.
did.
Because X-Men came out. And it was kind of
People
like,
oh, we could make these.
we can make these and it won't totally suck. Blade came out, but no one knew it was a comic book movie.
Right.
In fact, they didn't promote it as such.
No, they didn't, no.
Because they were like, stink of Batman and Robin. We don't want people to
wanna
know
do
this.
that. Plus, obscure Marvel character in the first place.
Right. Spider-Man comes out and it's like, holy crap.
Yeah.
X2 comes out, completely raises the bar from X-Men.
Yes.
Whether you agree or not. It did. Spider-Man 2 comes out, and it's like, holy bejesus. Look at what we can do in a
Spider-Man
movie.
2 is
like,
a
I feel like Spider-Man 2
substantial film.
put everything on the table.
I agree.
Okay? And then there's Dark Knight. Dark
And
Knight,
then there's Dark Knight.
here's the fun thing about Dark Knight, right? Is that a Batman movie or a Joker movie? Like, what do you think about when
It's
you
a
think about
Joker
Dark
movie.
Knight?
It's definitely a Joker movie. Not only because the Joker kind of stole that movie and he chooses a lot of scenery, but because, as I've said many times, Christian Bale's Batman is not Batman. So it's
tough,
definitely a Batman movie. Is a Joker movie, not a Batman movie. If it was a Joker movie, it would be the greatest comic book movie, as far as I was concerned, I'd ever seen. But it was not billed as a Joker movie. It's billed as The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Dark Knight's supposed to be prominent.
Yeah.
Dark Knight's supposed to be hero. The Dark Knight doesn't save anyone in that film,
Sure.
with the exception of, wait for it, the Joker. And therein lies the problem I have. One of my major problems with that film.
I mean, when you really break it down, you're really breaking down the entire film of Spider-Man 2, which had its flaws. I mean, the train
Does.
sequence where he kind of loses
Yes.
his mask has
Yes.
some flaws. Now,
and everybody loves him.
this is pre-cell
tries
phone
to
era,
save him.
though. I mean, this is, I was sporting my BlackBerry, back then.
Yeah.
I was punching tiny keys, which I still miss. Actually, I miss the tiny keys. The tiny keys were the tiny keys are far superior.
I don't miss my old phones. I
to
can't
the
come with you
touchscreen,
there.
I think.
I didn't have a snazzy, cool phone.
I like
back
the tactile experience
then.
of it.
Yeah. You know what? I did have an envy.
Assume we'll throw it up on the poll: BlackBerry or iPhone keyboard. That's what I want to see. I want to see.
I had an envy.
Do you prefer a BlackBerry, iPhone, a BlackBerry keyboard to an iPhone touchscreen and/or Android? We can.
And the Envy had actual keys, and I do miss
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I miss that, and it had a space bar and everything. It was kind of pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was.
But, yeah, but I'm over it.
You are?
I'll keep my
All right,
I'll keep
so,
my
I mean,
iPhone anyway. But
Spider-Man 2 had flaws, yes.
Spider-Man
but-
2 had flaws, but it was groundbreaking. It's a monster. It was a monster for what it did. Where we are now could not have been possible without Spider-Man 2. Not even the first Spider-Man. The first Spider-Man was like, oh, this can work.
Yeah.
Sam Raimi made a great movie, and these movies are lucrative.
Yeah.
So then they made a second one, and the second one just blew everybody away.
One of the best Marvel, still one of the best Marvel villains.
Yes.
Is Otto Octavius.
Unbelievable.
But he's part of an ensemble.
Alfred
He's
Molina.
part of all this stuff, right?
Right.
And even the stuff with James Franco.
But then in the
is there
openings,
too.
with the openings with Alex Ross paintings, like
Yeah.
summarizing the
I
previous
don't
movies.
think people remember how great this is.
No, they don't,
It's a great movie.
and it's fun.
It is fun. But it's got everything. It's got ups and
heart.
downs.
Yeah,
it's got ups and
heart. It's got
downs.
darkness. The thing about the Dark Knight is it's all grim.
But
Now listen, the Dark Knight is a great movie.
don't talk about Dark Knight just yet. Just
Why?
keep talking about Spider-Man 2 because I'm going to end it with this. I'm not going to end it, but I'm going
Well, you gotta tell me.
I'm going to segue to Dark Knight by saying
Tell me
though,
we're gonna segue.
is everything you just said about Spider-Man 2 better than Heath Ledger's performance as Joker? And that's really what we're debating here, aren't we? We're debating a
No.
great movie.
No.
Versus
Everything,
a great
everything I said
performance.
about Spider-Man 2 is not better than Heath Ledger's performance, but the movie of Spider-Man 2 is greater than one actor's portrayal of a character.
But the impact of Dark Knight, when you walked out
Hey, who are you?
after seeing it for the first time, it was much more palatable than seeing Spider-Man 2.
I disagree
No,
with you.
I do disagree because I walked out of this. It's you know what it is? It plays on completely different emotions.
Yeah,
I walked
absolutely.
out of Spider-Man 2 with the biggest smile on my face and exhilarated because it was
Absolutely.
like, holy cow, that was everything I could have ever wanted in a comic book come to life on the film. And then I walked out of The Dark Knight with a big smile on my face, thinking that was everything I've ever wanted in terms of taking the medium serious that I've ever wanted. Equal emotions, different.
I think,
range.
yeah, I think I was emotionally tied more to Spider-Man 2. And I think I wasn't really emotionally invested. I wasn't aware of my emotional investment until
It's been 15 years.
yeah, but it's still you got to do that. Some
At
people,
this point-
there's one guy out there who's
At
like,
this
I
point,
haven't
it's like the
seen
intern
it
who
yet."
hasn't seen Back to the Future.
Yes, and where do
I
you
don't feel
find
bad
one of
for you.
those? Where do you find?
I mean, I feel bad for you. You haven't seen it.
I didn't realize how emotionally I was invested I was until Mary Jane saw that Peter Parker was Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And it was kind of the culmination of the entire movie had been building up to that because he's been getting no love and no justice towards anything. And so it was kind of and also it kind of broke the mold.
Yeah.
Because what you've come to expect is that they were just going to keep milking her not just not knowing the obvious truth that this guy was Peter Parker for the next 5 movies. And then he was like, nah, second movie, she's in on it. And it's done. So for me, the gravitas of Spider-Man 2, the movie itself, and what it portrayed, what it gave us, because the playing field was never leveled after that, outweighs The Dark Knight. The problem I have with The Dark Knight is that the main character, in my opinion, is not portrayed well. So great movie. It's a great movie. Now, it is a fantastic, fantastic movie. It's just not a good Batman movie, in my opinion.
Brian Phillips chimed in that he did save Maggie Gyllenhaal when Joker throws her out the window. So he temporarily saved somebody.
He saved...
And then she got blowed up.
He saved her. All right, so fine. He saved her when she went out the window. She wouldn't have gone out the window if he wasn't there. And that's another aspect of The Dark Knight that's a problem. If he didn't exist, most of the people who died would not have died because the Joker was killing most of those people to provoke him.
Yeah.
And his "I don't want to kill anybody. I'm going to do things even kill" was actually literally getting people killed left and right. And that was really annoying.
Let me throw this out, because I don't know if we're going to come to a consensus just yet.
Probably not.
But we have more time in the show, thankfully.
Hoorah.
Would you consider Spider-Man 2 and The Dark Knight better than Winter Soldier? I mean, it doesn't fit the bracket.
Yes.
I kind of do, too. I kind of wish this was the championship round.
Should start with that, then.
But it's not. It's not the championship round.
They totally are better movies than The Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier is a great catalyst for the world that comes after. The world that the house that Spider-Man 2 and The Dark Knight built. Winter Soldier is upping the ante, but it's already standing on the shoulders of those two movies in order to up the ante.
Yeah, I feel like Spider-Man 2... Now, Brian Everham has chimed in, and he was a big fan of the first one. He said he wasn't a big fan of the second one. He gave it a 6 out of 10, and, well, they all went downhill after the first one. Oh, after the first one, he said they all went downhill. I disagree with that.
Which first one?
He also he said the first Spider-Man movie. He said that was the best one. I disagree with that.
No.
I disagree with that just from Kirsten Dunst's awful dialogue that they gave her. And
I didn't like that. I
just pulled ahead in the talking alternative poll.
Okay, all right. Let's take a look at that. We're gonna go through the polls after this.
I just thought a lot of the original Spider-Man, a lot of the components didn't mesh very well. I thought that they baked the cake just perfectly for the second one.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. It hit all the and to me, James Franco at the end of that.
The Danny Elfman music
was very, very
didn't really work too much for the first one.
Yeah.
For the second one, it does. The CG for Spider-Man, even though, we talked about that last week, it's not really fair. That's very old. But even then, the CG
the
for that...
CGI was really good in that.
In the first one, not really that great. The second one was okay. The first one was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I get it. Oh, look, he's limber. And they were... And look, I'm sorry. Willem Dafoe... Great actor. Mm-hmm. Terrible Goblin.
Yeah, no, he was not good.
And it wasn't him being the Goblin that was terrible. It was the scheme that they had him in, that armored suit.
Yeah.
It just did not work.
Yeah.
And he tried to choose scenery like Jack Nicholson, like all the other comic book villains that came before him.
Yeah.
And it just didn't really work out. Alfred Molina stole it.
I think he really did. So we're gonna do some empirical data.
All right.
Some empirical data. The Talking Alternative poll at Talk Radio NYC on Twitter has Dark Knight pulling ahead. Mm-hmm. Okay, so they are now a 40% winner,
full of ingrates
over the other three. Now all the other three have votes, though. All of them have votes. Take that, Sam. But they are right now the definitive ahead over everything else. However, on the Secrets of the Sire poll,
do
you know who actually won the whole darn thing? Because we ran the poll already, and I was meant to do it through the show, but it stopped before the show because I can't add correctly. Winter Soldier
really
actually bested all three.
Really, I told you're underestimating the power of that movie.
So by default, because this is not necessarily all four going up against each other. Which, I kind of wish it was, but this is March Madness.
You're looking for runners.
This is seeding. This is brackets. Sometimes you get the championship round before the championship game. That was kind of like what happened in the real thing. So I think we're going to have to, based on empirical data, we're going to push Winter Soldier versus Dark Knight in the finale. What do you think?
I disagree strongly.
Sam? All right. When we come back, Dark Knight taking on Winter Soldier. I want to know you're good. I want to know why, what you thought was the shining star in this movie.
The seat that I was sitting in the theater was very comfortable.
Okay.
There wasn't a lot of sticky stuff on the floor, which I hate.
I hear you.
People talking behind me, but people always talk behind me.
Really?
Wherever I go, and it's the same two
Didn't
people.
we have this conversation after a while?
Yeah.
The problem is you.
Yeah.
Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. Again, this has been a tremendous show. It's been a tremendous couple weeks doing our March Madness bracket. We want to thank all the folks who've been chiming in. Brian Everham, Brian Phillips, Johnny Wellens on Twitter. Annie Banks chimed in at some point. Priya Nunbard always does.
Nice
Soda Pop Curtis, pleased to meet you. It's good to have you chiming in as well, too.
Thanks
Just
for
again,
kiboshing everything.
a reminder, the mainstream.
Killing Spider-Man, too. Thanks a lot. That's
The
great.
mainstream, it's about an interdimensional police force that polices alternate realities, keeps the bad people out of our reality.
Is this the comic book?
It
This
is
your comic
debuting
book.
at C2E2 in
Right.
Chicago, so I'll be flying out there on Friday. I'll be there all weekend. I'll be at the Zenoscope booth
Come on, how come I'm not flying out there with you?
609. No, you don't
going
have
on
to.
with that?
That's the beauty of it.
Well, how come I'm not?
Come meet me. Come meet Talon Caldwell, who co-created it. Come meet Tony Moy. He'll be in Artist Alley. Order codes, February 18, 2017 is 1. March 18, 2138 is issue 2. Issue 3 is also in previews right now. All right.
I want to go.
We are
I
doing
can't go.
Winter Soldier versus the Dark Knight. That is our wiener of the tournament. And like I said, so many mixed feelings about this. I actually don't think. I don't think Winter Soldier definitely should be in the championship game. For any basketball fans out there, this is the Michigan to the Dark Knights Villanova. Villanova crushed Michigan
I'm aware of
last weekend.
the reference.
But go to our Twitter poll, and we had a sizable amount of people vote in that,
Yeah.
and they picked Winter Soldier over everything.
Yeah, because your opinion doesn't mean anything, man. You're just a host.
Well, I agree with that.
You don't got a crystal ball.
I agree with. Well, but that's the beauty of this, right? Is that we don't get to just, automatically announce something is better than another thing. It's something.
Yeah, we
that-
do. Sure we do.
Okay, the spirit of this, is that we don't just announce that
I get
something
you.
is better than the other.
I get
We
you.
actually come
I'm
to
with you.
a mutual consensus. So,
Right.
last 15 minutes of the show, 877-480-4120. If anybody wants to chime in and be our guest caller, you've got about 10 minutes to do it. Hassan, go. Winter Soldier versus Dark Knight. What do you got?
Dark Knight.
Really? That's crazy. Wait a minute. Now you just I wouldn't have started with you.
Dark Knight is a better movie than Winter Soldier.
It is, isn't it?
It is not a better comic book movie, but it's a better movie by far.
Yeah.
It's a better sequel. Very strong. Dark Knight has a lot of artistic value.
Yeah. We don't
Like,
talk about that.
Tremendous artistic, right from the beginning, where they start out with the mask,
Yeah.
and then they draw back, and it's Heath Ledger holding the mask, and he puts it on his face, which means his face is exposed,
Yeah.
in the very start of the film. Like I said, if it was a Joker movie, it'd be one of the greatest comic book movies ever made. It's just a bad. I just don't buy Kristen Bale's Batman. I got my issues with him, and the values that character had, and the fact that he got the shop off the rack. Yeah, you know what? I need a tank. Hey, Morgan, you got a tank? Yeah, I got a tank. I need a parachute. You got a parachute? Yeah, I got a parachute. I need armor. Yeah, here's a can of black spray paint. You're Batman. You know, so he didn't really earn his Batmanisms. You know, we didn't do Batman Year One with the Kristen Bale Batman.
Right.
So we didn't watch him earn it. We didn't watch him fight for it. You know, his morals were questionable because for all the good he tried to do, his presence actually caused more damage. And I think The Dark Knight, for me personally, is tainted by the sequel, Dark Knight Rises, which at the end of the Dark... I know. I already voted for The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
At the end of The Dark Knight, they gave an impression of a completely different sequel that was coming. You know, he'll be the hero we need. You know, not the hero we want, right? And then he quit in the next movie for 8 years, and he was all atrophied and everything.
Yeah.
So I mean, look, but stylistically, substantively, great movie.
Yeah.
And Winter Soldier relies on way too much in order to prop it up, as opposed to The Dark Knight, which kind of is a decent standalone movie. If you've never seen Batman Begins, you could still get into Dark Knight without really needing too much of visual aids to help you out.
So we have Brian Phillips. Joker really made The Dark Knight. I think the best part of that version of the Joker was it made him a real person, just a crazy person that came from nowhere and was a brilliant psychopath. Brian Abraham, Winter Soldier was fucking awesome. I can't believe you liked Spider-Man 2 more than Winter Soldier. Is Winter Soldier better than Dark Knight? And he says, I don't know. That's tough. So what we really have here is a battle of the Bryans. Which is exciting because there's a Brian Phillips, which is Bryan, versus Brian. So Sumo, put it up on the poll.
Clever spelling.
Brian with a Y or Brian with an I? We're gonna vote. Make it a 5-minute poll.
Whoever wins that vote wins the full contest.
Go to
because never mind. I won't make it worse.
Sam. Yeah, it's
Why
Dark
Sam
Knight,
get a
right?
vote? Sam's the engineer.
I'm here every.
Twitter
Everybody
has Winter
said fuck with
Soldier
me.
though.
Really?
Yeah, it does. Twitter picked Winter Soldier, although
Look, I liked Winter Soldier better. I don't think Winter Soldier is a better movie.
Yeah.
If I have to be honest.
Yeah.
But I'm glad the people have spoken.
I think the winner is the BlackBerry keyboard. I think ultimately that's what ends up winning over everything. Now,
I want one of those.
I mean, I guess I'm the deciding vote in this, aren't I?
Oh, isn't that convenient?
No, I'm not actually. I'm the one that would put it over the top. I would say.
Yeah, you would.
I would be the one that says Dark Knight.
You would be the tiebreaker.
I think we definitely have to say Dark Knight, but I don't vote for Christian Bale's Batman voice. Is that fair?
That was yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
One thing.
That was so terrible. And you know what? I thought it was a joke. I literally thought it was a joke. And they doubled down on it with the second movie. I'm like, really? 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 That's going to be the voice you use? You're so terrible. You're so terrible. Heath Ledger is eating your lunch right now in the middle of this movie. It's your movie. Your name is on the marquee. You're the main character. This guy is sitting there eating your Krispy Kremes right out of your brown bag, man. You are losing.
I think the real debate now has to be: is it Brian or Brian? Is it Brian with an I versus Brian with a Y? It's up. The poll is up. We've got time to vote.
I just think spelling it with a Y is a little obnoxious.
I have a tough time voting for this. I like Brian Abraham and I like Brian Phillips, so it's nothing personal against
I don't
them.
know which one spells which. So I'm just gonna go for.
I'm going with the Y.
I vote against the Y.
I'm going with the Y.
I vote against the Y.
Sam, what do you think? Go in the talking room. Actually, I don't think you can vote because you're the admin.
Yeah.
You're the admin on this, so technically it's you.
With an eye.
This is very exciting. This is very exciting. So we've now diverted. We basically have declared the Dark Knight the winner, but now we're voting Brian versus Brian.
Right, but we had 2 votes for I versus 1 for Y.
Yeah, but I actually physically voted, so it's like that episode of The Simpsons where Bart is running away with the election.
Show is fixed.
And Martin and the teacher are the only ones that remember to vote. It's not fixed. I literally took an...
You're the only one who can vote.
That's not true. We have 2 other interns sitting over here.
They're not even paying attention. They're wishing that these 2 old guys would shut up already.
But you got to vote. Just vote. Just go ahead and vote.
Oh.
Yeah.
Go to Twitter and vote.
She's watching Back to the Future
Every time I
on
think
YouTube right now.
Yeah,
That's what she's doing.
Just catch it up.
She figured
There
this
you
out.
go.
All right.
Start with the second one.
We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna declare Dark Knight the winner. I think it definitely.
How does the Dark Knight walk away with this whole thing after the good fight I fought for 3 freaking weeks, and the Dark Knight walks away with this is disgusting.
You're disgusted.
Disgusting.
That's good. Then we did our job. Then we did our job.
March Madness is disgusting this year.
Next week, she couldn't join us last week, but she is going to be able to join us next week. Kristen Anapau from True Blood.
I'm going to tell her how disgusted I am.
She's going to call in. She is the winner of our favorite, or of one of our favorite drops.
Yes.
Next year we're going to do our drops against each other. That's what we're going to do.
That's
We're
the
going to
March
vote. We're going to
Madness?
do our drops against each other.
The battle of the
I'm
drops.
stealing that from Michael K. Show. I do apologize that they actually do that, but our drops are amazing. So
Yeah,
I
they
think
can
that's
be.
exactly what it
They
comes down
tend to be.
So tune in next week, and then we are going to begin our countdown to Infinity War. Good night, everyone.